Hi guys, it's Isha. I'm finally back with another video. I know I've been gone the past few weeks. I'll explain more at the end of the video, but for now, obviously a huge congrats to Charles Leclerc for winning his home Grand Prix in Monaco yesterday. It was a big moment for him and for Ferrari. So with that, I guess we'll start the video by talking about Charles Leclerc. So this was his first win since 2022 July. I think it was the Austrian Grand Prix, and it is his first ever win in Monaco, so his home Grand Prix. This is the circuit that he says inspired him to become a Formula One driver, so it was a very emotional moment for him to finally win it. And for those of you guys who don't know what the Monaco curse is, basically Charles Leclerc has been racing at this circuit since 2017, but he has been unable to secure a win, even when he started on pole from quali. And the reason for that is that, he's had DNFs. He's had some issues with Ferrari pit strategies. He's had gearbox failures, and it's just been a variety of different issues. So everybody called it the Monaco curse because he was never able to win. And now he's finally broken the curse and won. So a huge congrats to him and to Ferrari because Charles's teammate Carlos Sainz came in third. So that's a lot of points for Ferrari for the constructor standings this weekend. Now, a lot of people do say that the Monaco Grand Prix is pretty boring. There's not much that happens, not much overtaking or action happening during the racetrack. And while that may be true for a good portion of the race, the beginning of yesterday's Grand Prix was very eventful. I mean, on the first lap, we had the big crash between Magnussen, Hulkenberg, and Perez, where Kevin Magnussen thought he had some space, but he didn't. He hit Sergio Perez, who spun and ended up hitting Hulkenberg. It was a massive crash. All three drivers did DNF, and Sergio Perez's car looked awful after the crash. It was a miracle that all three drivers were able to walk away, and that any of the photographers and crew that were standing near that turn were all fine as well. Now, with that, the stewards did say that there was no further investigation for Kevin Magnussen, which is a bit surprising given that he is 2 penalty points away from a 1-race ban. So, over at the Grid Network, where I also report on Formula One, I was talking to some of my teammates about how Kevin Magnussen should have gone into this Grand Prix more carefully, knowing that he's only 2 penalty points away from a 1-race ban. He shouldn't try to take as many chances as he can. However, knowing Kevin Magnussen, we know that he's not the type of driver who would hold back from a possible opportunity or advantage, and he's willing to risk it. And sometimes that doesn't work out, especially not at the Monaco Grand Prix because of how tight the circuit is and how there's not a lot of room for overtaking, and so that's what ended up happening. In addition to that, on the first lap, we also saw some action between Oscar Piastri and Carlos Sainz, where Oscar Piastri nicked Carlos Sainz's left tire. I think it was his left front tire. And so Carlos had to get the tire changed, but lucky enough for him, it happened around the time when the crash happened with Magnussen, Hulkenberg, and Perez. And so the restart ended up helping him, and he was able to start from his 3rd place spot instead of 6th place. Because the crash had happened before he had dropped back in the standings. So the race restart did help Sainz, and his teammate Charles Leclerc was able to maintain the lead from the restart as well. Now, a few corners later, also on that first lap, both Alpine drivers got into some drama. Esteban Ocon did hit Pierre Gasly's car, and he ended up damaging his car so much that he had to DNF from the race. If you listen to the radios during the race, you could tell that Pierre Gasly was not happy about it at all. And luckily for Pierre Gasly, the restart also helped him, and he was able to secure points at the end of the race as well. However, Esteban Ocon, as I mentioned, DNF'd, and because of that, he was given a 10-second penalty, which he will have to serve in the form of a grid penalty for the next Grand Prix. Now, other than this, there was not much shuffling around that happened with the order, which is why a lot of people said that it was a pretty boring race. The starting 10 drivers finished in the exact same order that they started the race in, which is the first time this has happened in Formula One history. In the past, it has happened to the top 6 drivers where the starting drivers finished in the exact same order that they started in, but this is the first time that's happened for the top 10 point scoring places. So that was also an interesting fact, and many people, as I mentioned, are saying that Monaco should be dropped from the calendar or the track should be changed, the layout, some changes should be made so that there's more action, there's more overtaking. Even Max Verstappen said during the race, I think it was around lap 37 or so, that he should have brought a pillow because of how boring the race was. regardless of that, overall it was a great day for Ferrari. Double podium, Charles Leclerc win at his home Grand Prix. It was a surprising day for Red Bull though, because, you know, Max finished in 6th and Sergio Perez DNF'd. I think that when you look at where Red Bull was last season, they are not in the same era of dominance. I think that last season was, you know, a full Red Bull dominance era. There was only one non-Red Bull win, and that was Singapore with Carlos Sainz. This season, I don't think we're halfway through even yet, and we've already had a few non-Red Bull wins. So I think that this is the year, or this is the opportunity at least, for other drivers to try to get in some wins, because I don't think that Red Bull is in the same place that they were last season, and I think that some of the other teams, especially like Ferrari and McLaren, have brought upgrades and strategies and just some other things that are allowing them to get more podiums and to get a few wins as well. So I think that we're definitely going to see more non-Red Bull wins by the end of this season. With that, yesterday's race saw a total of 4 DNFs. That was Magnussen and Hulkenberg, both Haas drivers, Sergio Perez, Red Bull, and then Esteban Ocon for Alpine. Outside the top 10, the order was Fernando Alonso in 11th place, followed by Ricciardo, Bottas, Stroll, Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu in last place, which was 16th place. The fastest lap point was awarded to Lewis Hamilton for a lap time of 1 minute and 14.165 seconds. Now, with that, let's take a quick look ahead to the next race weekend. So that will be happening in 2 weeks. We do have one weekend as a break. So it's going to be happening on June 9th, and that's the Canadian Grand Prix. So the Grand Prix in Canada is in Montreal, and it has a total of 70 laps. The track length is 4.361 kilometers or 2.71 miles. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see who wins that Grand Prix, and if Red Bull's dominance is going to return for the rest of the season. Now, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in today's video. I do also want to apologize again for not being as active as I usually am on my channel. I am a college student, and so the last few Grand Prix, I think like the last 2-3 Grand Prix, timed up with the end of the semester, and because of that I was so busy with assignments and finals and papers, projects, all of those sorts of things, that I just didn't have the time to sit down and make videos. I was watching the Grand Prix, or at least their highlights and things, but I just didn't have time to make videos and to post them. So now that the semester is over and summer has started, I will be more active on my channel. I will also try to post some more videos and clips from the Grid Network, where I work as a multimedia journalist, and I'll try to get in some more clips of some other motorsport series as well in between the Formula 1 weekends, and see if I do end up doing any more driver interviews the next few weeks. So that's all for today's video. I will see you guys all in my next video. Until then, have a good time.